And should be concerned about that, because the United States ultimately is supposed to be an exemplar for the rest of the world. We are supposed to be, in Ronald Reagan's words, that shining city on a hill. Well, that shining city is looking kind of slummy right now in terms of our image abroad, and I think with good reason. We've violated, I think, fundamental principles that have guided this country's foreign policy so successfully since 1947.
You don't want your president to be seen as a hot dog, and when your president gets into a jumpsuit and gets in the back of a jet and lands on an aircraft carrier and then waddles out with his little straps between his legs, and that's not, I mean, you want a sign of kind of maturity and not testosterone blasting through when you're talking about things so fundamentally important as sending a nation to war and sending young men and women to their deaths.
There is a sense in Washington now that you can't raise objections to this because you're not supporting the troops in the field. I would rapidly point out that unlike almost anybody I know that holds office in this country, I've had two sons in uniform, both of whom have been in combat, and so I don't have to take any nonsense from anybody, nor will I.
Mark Twain's definition of patriotism is patriotism is supporting your country all the time and your government when it deserves it.
Well, I don't think it's patriotic to stand by and remain silent while your country stumbles into disaster.
Patriotism is the last refuge of scoundrels, and I think these are scoundrels. They have no argument now. They have no defense for what they did. The country is in a terrible international security situation that I think is perilous. So they're attacking the patriotism of others.
Having been an insider, I know that the insiders don't have it all right. They make mistakes, and indeed, there's more likely to be mistakes, and there's more likely to be misjudgment if there is no criticism.
It was Jefferson who said that our kind of government is not based on trust. It's based on, in fact, suspicion.
Supporting the Constitution, understanding what's in the Constitution, caring about the Constitution. That's why we don't have a king, because we have a piece of paper. So I think that is patriotism.
It's not just those of us who've been privileged to serve actually in the government who are the patriots. It's every citizen who respects and honors the fact that we have such a wonderful country.
To suggest that if you have a different viewpoint than any given administration, or if you're not supporting the president in policies that may be highly erroneous, I don't see that as patriotism at all. In fact, I would argue that any patriot with integrity is going to speak out if he or she feels that we're on the wrong course.
It's not unpatriotic to demand that Congress upholds its constitutional responsibilities regarding the declaration of war. It's not unpatriotic to be very upset, vocally upset, when Congress abrogates this constitutional responsibility by transferring war powers authority to the President of the United States, as they did in October of 2002.
Listen, when you guys were working NASDAQ and the dot-coms, I was out in Iraq trying to get rid of Saddam and almost got killed for it. And besides, almost going to jail. So it doesn't take a whole lot of courage for me to come out against the war, and I did at the beginning, but I was studiously ignored.
When we did the first Gulf War, when I came out of Baghdad in 1991, I met with the President of the United States, I met with the senior leadership of both parties, and the one thing that sticks with me to this day is the extent to which each one of them explained to me in very emotional terms the extent to which they had had to plumb their consciences to come to a decision on how to vote on the use of force authorization. It had been a moral decision on their part. It had been one that had kept them up at night as they thought their way through this. We owe our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, and our Marines nothing less before we send them to battle.
Sometimes the true patriot takes the unpopular course, but helps their country avoid mistakes. And even if they can't persuade, at least they tried.
For me, America is this amazing land of opportunity, of beauty, of idealism, of hope. It is a beacon to the world. It's a place of fantastic people. And what infuriates me more than anything else is that this administration has systematically slandered, libeled, blackened the image of America to our friends and allies around the world.
Having the authority and the ability to go and wage war is a very, very solemn thing, and it needs to be done with care and with deliberation and with genuine forethought. And I think that none of that was present in the lead up to this entire debacle that we now call enduring freedom.
When the emperor has no clothes, you have to have the presence of mind and the courage to stand up and say, the emperor has no clothes.
The regime is seeking a nuclear bomb. He has attempted to purchase high-strength aluminum tubes suitable for nuclear weapons production. Material sufficient to produce more than 38,000 liters of botulinum toxin. Saddam Hussein had an advanced nuclear weapons development program. The British government has learned that Saddam Hussein recently sought significant quantities of uranium from Africa. Already, the K report identified dozens of weapons of mass destruction related program activities.